I'm 31 and I want to make a video for my birthday to celebrate, but I need a reason to make a video. What should I talk about? Hmm. I know. It's been a month since the Nintendo Switch 2 came out, and I know everyone and their mom have talked about and reviewed the system already. But I'm not here just to talk about the Switch 2. I also have to talk or question Nintendo or gaming in general right now, and share a little bit of my life with video games. I have been playing video games for most of my life and still am today. Now, some of you might be thinking,
Wow! This guy spent most of his life playing video games and nothing else.
to you, I say, no, I have not. I have done more than just play video games. I spent time going to college and got a degree. Also, I'm not in any college debt. I know, shocking, right? And right now, I'm writing stories that I want or trying to make into an animated series. You can read the story for your entertainment need on my globalcomic.com page, and I have new written stories for people to read at least once a month. Wait, what was I talking about earlier? Oh yeah, the Switch 2. The first Nintendo Switch 2 Direct was great. It had a good number of games. It showed off the system very well, and in it all, it getting GameCube games. The Joy-Con are attached magnetically, and they can be used as a mouse, which is neat and fun. But I didn't care about the game chat, the microphone, the camera, or the virtual game card. With the Switch 2, you can basically play all Switch 1 games, and some of them are getting Switch 2 edition, and the system was only 2 months away. Everything was good until the bill and the pricing came along. The price for the system wasn't the biggest problem for people. The games were $80 for a game. The game key cards are not great either. I'm a big fan of physical games, and this is a letdown for me. However, it's better than the code in the box, and you can still rent or buy used games. Nintendo and a few third-party games on Switch 2 have the full game on the physical copy. If you have dealt with Xbox One, Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, or PlayStation 5 like I have, you're basically dealing with the same thing. Downloading most of the game or the full game on the system. But if you thought that was bad, tariff came into the picture and made things even worse. Not only for Nintendo and people who play video games, but for everyone in general. While the price of the Switch 2 and the game stayed the same, the accessories were not so lucky. They only went up by $5, which isn't too bad, but it is still not great. I know tariffs are a political thing, and I don't like to talk about politics. People have become very toxic about that subject and the topic. I think why a lot of people try to ignore politics is because some people literally just want to fight or yell at each other over political beliefs, ideas, or comments. I can totally understand not wanting to talk about it. Some people straight up just hate each other these days over that stuff. Trust me, I have watched too many commentary channels and have seen the crazy, the dumb, and the toxic. However, none of that stopped the Switch 2 or Nintendo. Although before and after the system came out, I have seen videos popping up saying don't buy the Switch 2 or something along the line, but some people were doing that just to make clickbait and outrage. There were a few videos that were not clickbait, and I understand a few points like not having the money, waiting for more games to come, or to tackle their backlog. Buy it, don't buy it, I don't give a crap. I'm aware of the online pre-order nightmare that happened on April 23rd and the 24th. I didn't even bother. That's why I went in person. I got to GameStop an hour before they opened. I was the 11th person in line, waited in line for an hour, but I had the food and water just in case. A man who was the store owner came outside and told people waiting there were people at other locations throwing chairs because they ran out of Switch 2 to pre-order, and he thanked us for not acting wild. Yeah, it was crazy, but luckily I didn't have to deal with any craziness. I was able to pre-order a Switch 2 along with a physical copy of Mario Kart World and a Express Micro SD card. I did not go to the midnight release because I do not want to be outside at 12 a.m. I like video games, but not that much to go to a midnight release, but I'm sure it was crazy. On June 5th, I went to my GameStop 20 minutes before they opened. There were 5 people in front of me, and I was in the store for 30 minutes. I got all of my stuff with no craziness. Now, the PS5 was a different story. But what about the Switch 2 game? You know, the reason anyone would buy the system in the first place. The games I bought for Switch 2 are Mario Kart World and that's it. I did manage to rent Street Fighter from GameFly, but I don't have all the characters because the physical copy had a piece of paper with a code to get the Season 1 and 2 characters. I don't have a lot of Switch 2 games right now because it's still new. Other launch games like Hitman or Road Factory I have no interest in. However, I do have a lot of Switch 1 games. I plan on buying post-launch games from Nintendo and third parties, as well as other launch games like Fast Fusion and Deltarune, but I'm waiting for price drop.
Street Fighter 6.
I cannot believe Capcom put Street Fighter 6 on Switch 2. Now, I just hope Namco put Tekken 8 on Switch 2. Most of my time was playing the World Tour mode, a single-player story mode where you make your own character, fight people, level up, take on missions, meet famous Street Fighters, and learn their moves. This mode is basically a fighting RPG. World Tour had frame rate problems when fighting NPCs and going to a few places, but the mode is playable. However, the rest of the game outside of that mode had no frame rate or other problems. I do not have a hold on all the game mechanic or combos. Then again, I'm not the smartest when it comes to fighting games. but I am not totally in the dark either. The game does have an easy way of playing it in the form of modern and dynamic control type, but I don't know how I feel about it. Street Fighter did on the Switch 2 is not a lazy port and I can recommend it. I wish it was not a game key card and the retail box did not have a piece of paper with a code. But now it's time to rev up the engine and step on the... Finally, we have a new main Mario Kart game. I did not care about Mario Kart Tour or Home Circuit. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was amazing, but it was just 8 from the Wii U with more content. The game feel and mechanics are what make Mario Kart World stand out the most. Drifting is okay, but I prefer the feel of drifting from 8. Flying in the air return, you do not drive underwater, but now you're driving on water. New techniques allow players to grind on rails like in Sonic Riders. Sega and Nintendo worked something out for NSO, maybe, and drive on walls and jump on them for a small boost. You can drive off-road with the free roam mode, allowing you to drive anywhere in the world itself to find cool details and do missions. I would call it a whole new world, but I don't want to make that joke. I'm not the biggest fan of driving from one track to the next in Grand Prix because I noted I was driving on straight line with small turns or curves. It made more sense in the Knockout Tour mode. The game is great and I can recommend it, but at $80? No! That is a high price to ask the people. Speaking of prices, one game I won't be buying anytime soon or maybe never is the $10 tech demo showing and detailing all the cool features of the Switch 2. Really, Nintendo? $10 for a tech demo? This should be free. On the 3DS, you had tech demo that showed the system features like the AR game and Fate Raider, and they were free. I would say wait for Nintendo game to go on sale, but the problem is, it's Nintendo. Nintendo is known for keeping their prices on their games the same, and their pricing with remastered games is questionable at times. Nintendo priced Metroid Prime 1 remastered for $40, and that wasn't bad. But then Donkey Kong Country Returns HD was $50. Same problem with Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. That game came out June 27, 2024 at $50. I got the game for $40 at GameStop on the week of Mario Day, but it should have been $40 from the start. Yet, Nintendo games can go on sale, but when they do, it's most likely for a game that had been out for years, like Super Mario Odyssey. Price drops are more themed from third-party games like Sonic and Street Fighter. Speaking of Sonic, sick move, Sega, making people buy Sonic Generation and Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 all over again and not have a free update or an upgrade path. I recommend waiting for price drop, but mostly when it comes to third-party games. If you need more options to save money, I recommend GameFly. It's a service that allows you to rent video games, saving you from buying a game you may not like. Try to buy two get one free deal at GameStop or Target. Each store like GameStop and Best Buy have reward programs and offered. I paid off some of the money for Mario Kart and a accessory with the items I traded in at GameStop. They offered me 50% trade-in credit toward Switch 2 games and accessories. And there is Black Friday. But remember to be a good person and please don't attack anyone. In terms of upgrade path for Switch 1 game, there is not a lot to show off right now. Well, for me that is. I'm not into Zelda unless it's a Warrior spin-off. Mario Party is not until late July, and Kirby is not until August after I'm done with this video. However, we do get free patches, upgrade, and or update, and one game that needed it was Pokemon Violet. The game is running at a playable and stable frame rate like the Pokegod himself wanted it to be in the first place. 60 FPS. And it only cost me $450. However, whatever issue people had with the game, minus the performance, like a part of the story, the difficulty or balance, and so on, are still here and nothing can be done about it. The game is not perfect, but man, it looked great and it feels great playing this game. I have not played the whole game over again on Switch 2. I only heard from reviews about the game being 60 FPS, and I did not buy the DLC because the frame rate from the Switch 1 version put me off on the game. Also, I heard the DLC ran worse than the main game. I do not know how well the whole game run on Switch 2 myself. Other games from Nintendo like Splatoon 3, Captain Toad, and Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury did get a update for better graphics, add game share, and or to change small issues like a frame rate here or there on Switch 2. Infinite Boxing 3, a game from Nintendo and not well known, the frame rate is higher on Switch 2. But the game was very playable and the frame rate was not a problem for me on Switch 1. However, Nintendo did not tell us about this. There are better frame rates for other games like Bayonetta 3 and the Warrior game, but again, Nintendo never said anything about these games. Games from third parties got a patch as well. I looked at some videos on YouTube on how Switch 1 games run on the Switch 2, and it's something else. Some of the worst performing games, mostly from third party, got adjusted, or I should say are running at a stable and or playable frame rate. I really want to go through a lot of my Switch 1 games with small and big frame rate issues and see if they are higher or stable if I had all the time in the world, but I don't. I was shocked to learn that the Joy-Con 2 can be used and work correctly in motion games like Fitness Boxing 3, Just Dance, and a few others. Some Switch 1 games cannot be played using the Joy-Con 2. All you need to do is use the Joy-Con 1 for games like Ring Fit Adventure and other games. Speaking of update, I am glad we finally have GameCube games as part of NSO because some GameCube games are not cheap. I got a used copy of F-Zero G-Ed complete with the kit and the book back in the day for $5 at GameStop. This game now goes for the price of a new game or more. Pokemon Colosseum and Pokemon SD aren't cheap because they're Pokemon games. Fire Emblem and Chibi Robo prices are crazy as well. The cheapest you could go for is $150 to $200. I got Pokemon Colosseum a few years ago for $90. Not the word. Pokemon SD I got a long time ago for $15 used at GameStop. Now, some of you might be thinking, I should have not traded in my old games when I was younger. And some of you might be yelling, yes! And I can't blame you. When I was younger, I kept a lot of my favorite games. The oldest game I can remember buying is a new copy of Mario Kart Double Dash. I got the game the year it came out back in 2003, and I still have it. In fact, I pre-ordered it and got a bonus disc. Yeah, I did trade in some of my games I owned for newer games around the GameCube, Wii, and Wii U era. As I have gotten older around the Switch 1 era, I kept most of the games for that system. Buy or fight the people, it don't trade in your game. I do understand why people trade in their game. You thought you were going to like this game, but you didn't like it or you couldn't get into it. Someone got you a bad game as a gift. You need money for a new game or money in general and more. But wait, some of you might be saying to me,
But you traded in games to pay off Mario Kart World and other stuff.
yet I did. But the games I traded in were games I couldn't get into. Paper Mario, the Thousand Year Door on Switch, I got as a part of a buy two get one free deal from GameStop. Paper Mario Color Splash was a different story. I found the game last year for $3 at a Goodwill of all places. I played the game before around the year it came out, but it wasn't a game for me. I just bought it to see if I could flip it around and get more than the $3 I paid for, and it worked. Now, let's play some GameCube. I'm not into Wind Waker, so that leaves me with the other two. F-Zero is a series that had been missing in action for a long time, but we did get F-Zero 99 in 2023, and there is Fast Fusion, a game that had been compared to F-Zero or Wipeout. F-Zero is known for its high-speed racing, future setting, and Captain Falcon, who is known more for being in Smash than his own series at this point. It feels good playing the game again. F-Zero GX is a tough game, but it's a great one. Along with your normal Grand Prix and time trial mode, the game had a story mode and allowed you to make your own machine. My one issue with this whole thing is that you have to unlock everything. Did you know you could take a GameCube memory card to a F-Zero AX arcade machine to get extra content? I'm sure finding one of these is not easy in the year 2025, and I'm sure the Switch 2 does not have the ability to do the whole arcade memory card stuff. At least you can still unlock the content in F-Zero GX, but with extreme difficulty, and I mean extreme, and I will not be doing that. But I wonder about that arcade machine. Oh. Next, we have Soul Calibur 2. It's a 3D weapon fighter. This game was released on PS2, Xbox, and GameCube. Each platform had a different guest character. Heihachi Mishima from Tekken for PS2, Bond from, Bond the comic book series for Xbox, and Link from the Legend of Zelda series for GameCube. For someone who is not great at fighting games and had stopped caring about Soul Calibur after the second game, this game holds up well. But Soul Calibur 2 had the same problem I have with F-Zero GX. You have to unlock everything. Both characters have multiple weapons and each one offers different abilities or something special. The only way to unlock them and the other characters as well is through Weapon Master mode. And this is not a short or easy mode to play and beat. If I remember correctly, this mode had some hard or questionable missions. However, you do not have to beat every mission. You need to unlock all of the region to access the shop to buy the weapon. It will be a while before the honeymoon is over. So far, the Switch 2 is a good system. I do recommend it from a casual point of view, but do not rush to try to find a Switch 2 and do not buy from a scalper if there is a low supply and a scalper issue. Not everything is perfect. I wonder if we have to deal with the whole Joy-Con drift issue all over again. I hope not. These things at a pair are $95. Battery life is not the best. I wish Nintendo would do something about the questionable AI and low effort games on the eShop. Not to mention the low effort, not safe for work games. I do not think it's a good idea to show in this video. Overall, the Switch 2 is great, and I, a reasonable 31-year-old, am looking forward to new games from the Switch 2. However, I wish I could say gaming is in a good place right now, but it's not. Gaming and entertainment is in an odd place right now, in my opinion. With games now being $70 and $80, some of them have a microtransaction on top of that, the all-digital future I've been hearing about, the budget or the amount of money used on making games and entertainment is crazy, and the internet discourse around gaming or entertainment. Some actors, studios, and other questionable people with their toxic behavior or toxic beliefs being a part of the problem. They blame fans or take issue with opinion, falsely calling people bigots, and other forms of tomfoolery or nonsense. I, of course, do not buy or I'm not into every game and theory out there, and I'm glad I'm not. This is not the 90s, 2000, or early 2010s anymore when it comes to media. Things are changing and not all of it is for the better. As someone who loves games and other media, it's annoying to see all of this nonsense. Some of it is true and real, while some of it is false info. And yet, I know there are real-life issues, and that is more important than entertainment. I have a dream of turning my stories and ideas into an animated series, and I am not going to change for someone's nonsense agenda, or feeling. If you're someone who wants to make a video game, a comic, a show, or whatever, I hope you do not have to deal with the crap yourself, and I wish you the best. I wish people would focus on what matters the most in entertainment, making a great game or a great show for people, making it a good, exciting experience, and for people to learn what makes it fun, and not focus on one-sided politics, the clearly noticeable agenda, the modern audience, or trying to please angry or toxic people of many kinds. And there are many of them out there. There is some good news and hope. Some people do not give a crap about the nonsense and just want to create fun games and stories. And of course, there are more normal, reasonable, and nuanced people in the world and online when it comes to video games and other media. Say what you will about Nintendo, at least they give people good games or media. Most of the time. Just remember to have fun with whatever media it is if you can. Unless it is Concord. If that's the case, then no one is having fun, and apparently so, because the game got shut down in only 12 days. How much did the game cost to make? Oh.